Liberty House is not a hotel. It's not just a bunch of guys living here that are alcoholics and addicts coming and going and doing what they want. We run it like family. A lot of places now, the major treatment centers across the country are going long term. What we're going to talk about is just basically the recovery process, like what happened, what it's like, what happened, what you did, and what it's like now.
In the beginning, Dick didn't think that I was right. He said, you know, that because that he felt I was overreacting because of the experience I'd had in my family. And I said, it's 180 degrees around from that. It's because I've seen it before, I recognize it, and I don't want to see it, but I see it. So it's happening.
So, Dick, did you know anything was going on? Did anything more than Mary Sue?
I was brought up to believe that when somebody said something to you, you accept it. And he would always tell me when I would see him that there was nothing wrong and that he was fine. So, basically, I guess you would say that I was somewhat in denial of recognizing what was happening with him because I took him at his word. And when he had to come and live with me because Mary Sue couldn't tolerate it anymore. I would come home at night and he'd be there. Unbeknownst to me, there were several of his friends there and they were using, but I couldn't find anything that would indicate that, okay? I mean, I looked all over and I couldn't find it. Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, quite a shock.
So when this problem's presenting itself, it's unfolding, it's seen, it's okay, it's not stopping, there's a problem, what do we do about it? Did you and Dick talk at that point? Did you come together on, or did you go farther apart on it? I mean, what happened between you and you know, you and Dick?
Like I said, I've never experienced this in my family before, and like I was brought up that, you know, when somebody told you that there's not a problem, then you accept them at their word.
And I said, well, but you have to understand people are going to lie about this kind of thing.
Well, and the other thing is that I couldn't find anything. You know, I mean, I started looking around, but there wasn't anything. The only thing that was there was Harryhausen's big, tall thing that I guess they used as a bong. But it wasn't anything in it, you know, and it had been there since I rented the house. So, I mean, I didn't see that as something.
Did you know that that's what that thing was?
No.
When you found it?
No, I did not.
When the reality started sinking in that your son was on drugs, how did that feel?
You feel helpless because he's sitting here telling you the lies and denying everything, saying, no, you're wrong. You know, we're not doing that. And I didn't have any evidence, any proof of it, so I'm sitting here and eventually I said, okay, that's, you know, he wasn't falling down and he wasn't, you know, walking around in a stupor with his head shaking all over the place. He, you know, and I couldn't smell anything on his breath.
Well, at first.
And, yeah, I'm just saying.
After a while.
Yeah, and then.
But I mean, I was active in the community and stuff too, and we still went and did stuff together, and like, I mean.
Well, the things that started to turn up that got me annoyed was with the Boy Scouts. You know, I had a trip that I had to take a young scout on a trip, and he was supposed to go with me, and he shows up and he said, I'm not going. And all of a sudden, you know, now I'm starting to think, you know, something's going wrong here.
You bottomed out and reached out. Would you reached out to help to your parents? Or?
No, his roommate called his roommate's sister, who was a good friend of Chuck's sister, and said, you know, he's in deep trouble. We need to do something for him. So I intervened. I called the university and got a psychiatric eval and tried to get him out on a medical break. And Melanie went down to school and picked him up and brought him back and we put him in treatment.
That started the let's go to treatment deal. Yeah, but the first process, like there were numerous relapses and problems between.
The first thing that happened was that when they did a psychiatric evaluation up there at that location, they told him that he had some deficiencies and he had damaged his brain permanently. And Mary Sue and I were there, and Mary Sue went in and told that guy to take a flying you-know-where to the moon.
Well, they were medicating him with such heavy meds to get him in through detox that he couldn't sit still. His hands were going like this, and his head was going. He was terrified. We'd go up there. We'd drive up every night for a 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock dinner time, and sometimes he couldn't sit still. Sometimes he could blah, 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 you know. And he got better, but I also told the person who was medicating him to just stop giving him so much medication and let's just see how he really is. But it was a solid year before he arrived at Liberty House.
What did you learn in that treatment center? Did they teach you about behavior, about 12-step meetings? You have to go to meetings if you want to stay sober. Did they get the family involved at all?
We did. We
Yes.
went for a whole week. All of everybody.
Our two daughters and ourselves, we all went up there for a week, and they had family meetings during the month, and we attended those, all of them. And well, I guess one of the biggest mistakes we made was after he was in there, we sent him up to junior college, and that was a disaster.
So let him go back to school.
Yeah, that was a real disaster. In fact, he almost got himself killed because there was a guy that was coming in, pounding on, breaking down his door, and
He was dealing drugs.
it was really giving him some real serious problems. And so we pulled him out of there and took him back home.
Did you guys beat yourselves up for this? Did you think that you were responsible, as Mary Sue was explaining? And I mean, how?
Well, I thought that
You fell into that.
Well, I thought that because he was about 8.5 when we separated, and I really felt that had caused him a fair amount of pain. And I thought also that because when two parents are not in the home to present a united front, and when there's room to wiggle, when you're at one parent's house or the other, sometimes the communication isn't as good as it ought to be, even though we were making an effort to do that.